Good evening and welcome to Follow Everton, your source for everything related to Everton Football Club. And this evening, I've got the pleasure of being joined by the one and only Steve Ely. How are you?
All right, mate. Oh, good.
Were you there last weekend for the Burnley game?
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was an enjoyable game in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, when he tweaked the tactics, he got rid of the back three. Yeah.
And then obviously we've just seen Everton kind of like a role reverse, conceding the goals in the space of a few minutes. A bit like we tore Burnley apart in that 6-minute spell. Villa tore us apart. Should we touch on that before we move on to QPR? Just quickly rewind, because I know you've got a few things on your mind, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I was baffled why he went with the back three again after it was disastrous in the first half against Burnley. You could see it. They looked like they'd never played together. They looked nervous on the ball. Still got me doubts over Godfrey. I still have. I just think his positioning and his ball attacking is he's got a lot to learn. He's going to be a good player, but I don't know. I don't want to sound too negative with the lad, but he worries me. And then I couldn't believe it when I seen the team on Saturday and he'd gone for the back three again.
With Godfrey, it's almost like, he's got all the attributes there, but you struggle to find a space for him, because you could arguably say you want a stronger, a bigger unit at centre-back. But then, when we do that, we seem to sacrifice the pace that Godfrey brings. He's obviously a quality player with potential, but finding a space for him at the moment. He wasn't match fit though, was he? Really?
Job on us, but again, I just can't believe we went for three at the back after abandoning it against Burnley and turning the game round. It baffled me.
Steve, can I ask you though? Obviously, a lot of injuries coming into that game. Does that highlight, the poor recruitment that we've seen over a number of years, and in particular, when you look at the signings this summer and last summer, they're clearly the manager's players. What is the director of football bringing at the moment? Because no one's coming through the academy, and he's not unearthing any gems. They all seem to be Rafa's contacts, really. And what do you make of the whole situation? How we can come into a Premier League game with just 8 players on the bench, and it almost like it goes to pot when we have a couple of injuries?
I think Marcel Brands needs to have a good look at himself in the mirror, and let's not forget. Let's go back to the Steve Walsh era. That was the start of the rot. Marcel's come in. Yeah, the first attributes he brought in was Luca Dean, Gomez, and Yerry Mina. Okay, yeah, they're regulars. But then you've got to question your Delph, Gabaman. You've got to question them type of players. Tossing.
Yeah. There's a lot there, isn't there? There's a lot of mistakes. Even, you're bringing him in to kind of rectify mistakes. And you look at his signings, you say Luca Dean, Richarlison, outstanding overall. And then you kind of divulge a little bit more and think Andre Gomez, been a bit hit and miss, Bernard, hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yerry Mina, again, another one. You're talking about a good player on his day, but there's mistakes in him, calamities in him.
Yeah.
Still no right back signed. And then you come into the midfield. Gabamin, obviously, he can't be responsible for his injuries, but Delph, a really poor signing. And then up front, look at the name we brought in, Moise Keane. And there's just as many poor signings as there are successes, you'd say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, but then I also look at the deals we're doing to allow Moise Keane to go out on a 2-year loan deal when we're trying to claw money into the club for the financial fair play, so we can sign other players to allow that. Okay, yeah, we probably got 12 million out of it, but it's criminal. But that's wrong. He shouldn't have done that. I mean, they knocked PSG back and said they want the cash up front, and then all of a sudden at last minute they let him go out on loan again, and it's wrong. I just think that the club is rotten from the top down. I do. I'm sorry if it sounds blunt, but they're not good enough for what we want at Everton. And Brands and also Unsworth needs to take a good look at themselves, because he's supposed to put the pathway through from the under-23s. Is there an element of they're not getting a chance? I don't know. But we seem to sign these players and then let them go free after 2 years.
Yeah, it is a big worry. I think you raised some really good points. I mean, just on that academy, they seem to get to a bit of an age where they're too old and, they haven't made it through and they end up leaving really for peanuts. It's neither a profitable academy or a productive academy, would you say?
Yeah.
And I think they've lowered the age of it now to try and push players through earlier. But just in talk of the general players that you've mentioned, he does need to have a look at himself. I mean, obviously, you're talking about the outgoings. We haven't really sold any players and made money on them. And you look at teams like Liverpool and United, and when they sell a player who's on the surplus and has not cut it at the level and looks pretty dire, they're still getting substantial fees for them and moving them on. Yeah. Even the youth players. So we look at Everton and think, we only ever get rid of players on a free transfer, or if we're paying their wages still, or if there's some kind of hitch. With that Moise Kean deal, it's clear, obviously, there's something not quite right. It's designed to supplement Juventus, but they're a massive club. You must have money. They just sold Ronaldo and saving 500 grand a week in wages. So I don't buy it. I think there is an element of poor negotiation in terms of what Everton are doing. And is Bill Kenwright still involved in negotiations? Or is it Brands? And if so, if it's Brands, and what are we paying him $2 million a year for? Really,
it's supposed to be Brands, isn't it? And I'm reading reports in the Echo tonight about Benitez has got control now over what players he brings in, and so where does that leave Brands? So I don't know. I don't know what's got. I just think it stinks. He's got to take a good look at himself and look at the shite he's brought in.
It is a bit redundant, his role in some ways. And the transfers, they do stink of Benitez players. I mean, if you'd have told me at the end of last season we'd be signing Rondon, Townsend, and with respect to Gray, he's been outstanding so far, but I'd be telling you to piss off, and I'd be saying that I'm not going to watch this season because it just a complete and utter shambles, really.
The Rondon ones, it's just
he's not
unspeakable.
Is he? He's he's a Cenk Tosun Mark II, in my opinion.
It's another one of them. It's another panic. It is. It just stinks of panic.
I don't think the recruitment's been amazing over the past few years. Before a diabolical few years, even before that, and we are paying the price. And the news today is James. I know you texted me last night and said James was on the plane to Dubai. That looks like that's going to happen, and I don't know what your opinion is, and I'm happy for you to disagree because that's the beauty of our channel. But I would rather have him here than some of the other players like Davis. And
I just want rid of him.
If he's in the mindset where he's willing to go and play football at 30, just turned 30 in July in Dubai, he might play football for 3, 4, 5 years more. If he's willing to just throw his career away and go and play in a country which football is meaningless, really, in comparison. What does that say about him? And what does that say about Everton, that we're so desperate to get rid of him, but Delph can be here for eternity, and Gbamin, who, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Delph, and I'll come on to James in a minute, Delph's crafty. If you watch the last transfer windows, he's always injured over the transfer window. He always gets an injury when the transfer window's coming up. And that's so he can sit out on his arse, his contract, and doesn't have to play. All of a sudden, he's got this mystery shoulder injury.
He's injured all the time. I can't remember. I think he's only made 13 starts in 3 years or something like that.
It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. The James one, I just want him out the club. I know you said he's better than some of the dross we've got, but it's what he's... It's the negativity, what he's doing off the field with his Twitter and his Instagram, whatever he's talking about, and posting pictures of himself on a private jet or a private yacht in Ibiza, smoking vapes, and we don't want to see that. We don't want to see someone who disrespects our club the way he has done.
You sure they're not all kind of doing that, just not so publicly?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? And I'm also hearing tonight from a good source that we're paying 50% of his wages if he goes to Qatar. I'm speechless. I am. I really am. It's just Everton they're just like they're in panic mode at the minute. I think that this financial fair play's got them up shit's creek without a paddle.
Is it desperate? The FFP. Is it that desperate where we have to take $100,000 contribution to a player's wages? We're talking about a World Cup Golden Boot winner here. We're not talking about someone who's not got any ability. I would go as far to say that if we played him this season in this team as the number 10, he'd probably get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goals, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 assists. With better players around him, like actual wingers who are going to run him behind and.
But with the greatest respect to that, you've got to remember now that the weather's turning bad. He's a sunshine player. You know what I mean? For every club he's played for, if you look back through the record books, he's never played over the Christmas, New Year periods for every team he's played for.
So there's some sort of issue with his mentality here.
Yeah, there's got to be. He's a party freak. Let him go and party somewhere else out of Everton Football Club. Just get rid of him. That's all I say.
Moving on to QPR then. I know we've been touching on a few other things and we can come back to them for sure. But QPR, they're a championship team. I'm going down there for my sins tomorrow. And I got really excited when Mabsy offered me the ticket and said, do you want to go to QPR? I thought, fantastic. He's driving. And then my missus said to me, do you remember the team that went out against, was it Huddersfield Town? I think we played.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, and I remember I sat through that and I thought that was absolutely diabolical. And that was when we had the full, plethora of players available near enough. And he chose to play the fringe players. Now it's like he's going to be forced into some real changes.
He's no option. What's the matter?
So do you think it's going to be a B string, really, in reality?
Put it this way. I don't fancy our chances down there. I really don't. I think it'll be a B string plus a C string.
Steve, I'm bringing Basil here just into the stream.
Hello.
Hello there.
I'm putting you in the middle still. Steve's he's got a feeling a bit negative and down about things, David. I don't know if you've caught the start of this video. He's a bit frustrated and wound up, and he's well connected. And he's saying for a start, James is going we're subsidising half of his wages. What do you make of that?
We're subsidising half of his wages.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard tonight. We're taking 50% of the hit on his wages to get rid of him. I
thought it was ridiculous before you said that. If you're adding that into the mix, then of course I don't want to get rid of him 50%. The squad's paper thin. He's arguably our best, most gifted player. He could offer something. Personally, I think Benitez is driving this as well, and I think a lot of people say he's not, but I think
he is. I think he is.
Between them. I think he wants to go. James wants to go. Benitez doesn't want to play him, so he's forced him out.
And that's what I don't like when the club are coming out and selling porkies to say that he can't play because of he's not happy with his muscle.
Yeah. When
he's actually sat in the airport waiting to get on a flight to Dubai.
Yeah. Well, there's a video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a Benitez pre-QPR thing. It's not been out that long, and he basically says he's not fit to play or something. He says he's not available, and he's in Dubai. Oh, he's in Qatar. It doesn't say where he is. He just says he's not available.
Yeah.
No, it's not good.
I know you want rid of him, but I look at the squad. David makes a great point. We haven't got the players. And a game like tomorrow night at QPR, he's going to be a class above all of their players technically. And if you can just supplement that with a bit of defensive solidity and have some runners off him, I think it would suit us really well. Instead, I'm going down there tomorrow and I'm thinking I'm going for the experience, and I'm not really expecting an awful lot because the players that we have in our reserves right now, like your Kennys, your Davises, your Holgates, if you stick them in a championship team, I don't think they stand out in the championship. I think they would just kind of integrate in with the rest of the championship players because I think that's their level. I think even Delph. I struggle. Gabamin, probably. We've got a lot of championship players in reserve. And then I think we've got a competitive first 11. But the problem is, we're not going to see that first 11 all season.
No.
I genuinely don't think we'll see a fully fit Everton team at any stage this season. Someone's always going to be injured.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what the hell? The sacrifice in player. You're sacrificing a player and you're bringing someone in who's, it's a weak link. Coleman's injured. Kenny comes in. He's a weak link.
Yeah.
And
this is the other baffling bit. He's allowed Nkuku to go out on loan.
Mm.
And I mean, Luca Dean, as we talked about before, has been a great player. But since he signed the contract, his big contract, he's been absolutely dire.
Yeah. Do you think he needs someone in front of him who's got a bit more link up and a little bit more, offers him a bit going both ways? And some of the players he's had in front of him have not really helped. A bit selfish in front of him.
Well, I don't think he's a defender. I'll be honest with you. I think his defending is appalling. I think he's more a wing half. I do. I just think his defending, you're getting caught on the inside all the time. And I'd just play him as a left-sided mid. That's what I'd do with him. And go with a back four tomorrow.
I'm struggling really to come up with a team. David, have you had a chance to think about individuals for tomorrow?
No, I'm just looking. The BBC have got a thing you can select the players, but it tells you all the players we've got. I'm looking down the list, and it's the likes of Gomez and Gordon and Iwobi, Kenny, Sim.
Right.
Do you think we can cobble a team together? I mean, it's got to be Begovic in goal, so that we do know. It's for a start. Who do we play at right back? Do you play Kenny? I mean, you haven't got much choice. I think you've got to play Kenny. You've got to play Dean at left back. You've got centre backs. He doesn't want to drop Keane. He'll probably play Holgate.
That's asking for trouble, though, isn't it?
Well, he's going to give Holgate a game, and who do you put with Holgate? If you put Godfrey with Holgate, they tend to get a bit. I've seen them get out-muscled and outdone. They're a bit more inexperienced, so I think you have to play Keane or Mina with Holgate. And Mina, injury-prone, he probably won't play again after playing out the weekend. So
Brandwaite, maybe?
Yeah.
Brandwaite could play. It depends how much you want to change the squad up. Do you think Tom Davies will get a run out?
I think Tom Davies will play tomorrow. I would go my back four. I would go with Kenny. No, and I think he will go with him.
Yeah.
I would go with a back four of Kenny, Keane, Mina, and I would play Godfrey. Right? So I'd do that. And then I'd play my left side of midfield would be Luca Dean. So him and Godfrey can work because there's a bit of pace there between them. I'd play Tom Davies, I'd play Gomez and Zakore. And then up front, I would go with Anthony Gordon or King Solomon because Jesus Christ, he moves as quick as King Solomon, doesn't he? Gordon
what time do I leave when that team starts? Or what point am I leaving the match? 10 minutes in.
But that's what I think. That's what I think. I've just been reading about he had a private conversation with Ellis Sims. Now I rate this kid highly, but Rafa's saying tonight he's not fit. He put him on the bench on Saturday because he could have got a couple of minutes out of him, but he's not fit. But I would have started him before I'd have started Rondon if he was fit.
You think he's a better prospect?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he's a prospect, isn't he? He's young.
Rondon. Yeah. He got 9 goals in the League One, though. We're not talking about. He wasn't in Championship or First Division League abroad. He was playing League One football, I'm sure.
He was playing for Dumbarton in the Scottish League before we give him a shout. You know what I mean?
Can I ask?
Don't know until you give him a go.
You're expecting an awful lot then, really, with that team, because I think there's no balance there and there isn't really much going forward. In fact, there's nothing going forward. I think that team would lose.
Okay, we'll put Gray in, or I'm just scared in case we burn Gray out because we need him for the Norwich game. We don't want him to get injured. Keep him on the bench. Put Townsend in then, or instead of Gordon. But
I've got the same midfield as you. I've got Kenny at right back. I think he'll play Holgate. I think he'll play Keane, and I've got Dean at left back, and then
I think he'll do
the
that.
Same midfield: Decore, Davies, Gomez, and then up front, Rondon with Gordon on the left and Iwobi on the right. And I don't hope for much from that forward three, but that's what I think he'll go for, not necessarily what I'll do. But then you look at it and you think the only one who's going to add some dynamism to the attack is going to be Gray. And you just don't want him to get injured.
No.
I mean, at the moment, the squad's paper thin. You're not going to get through a cup competition with a paper thin squad either way.
Well, we named 24 players. Where are they?
Injured.
Because what you're really saying is you're struggling to cobble together 11 players there.
Okay, so we've got James, who's in Qatar as we speak. So he's out the equation, isn't he? So what you cobble out? You got Gabaman, who's injured again.
Yeah.
Delph, who's injured again.
Water is wet.
Yeah. Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, Coleman. There's your injuries.
They're not just injuries; they're injuries to key men and club captain, and that's why it's so highlighted because they'd be starting. That's 5 players out. You're starting 11.
Yeah.
I do think you've got to play Gray, Townsend, and Iwobi though. I just think if you want to, you've got to get the game won and then shut up shop. The last thing we want to be doing is going 70 minutes and then bringing on chasing the game 1-0 down and trying to cobble together something. I just think go and get the game won and then make your substitutions and shut up shop.
What would your priority be, though, winning this game or beating Norwich?
Norwich, but I want to win a cup, Steve.
I do myself, mate. I do myself. But you look at the squad, right? It's like rice paper. So do we take a chance? They're going to bully us tomorrow because they'll have watched Burnley bully us in the first half. They'll have watched Aston Villa bully us in the second half.
So what do you say then? Pack the midfield there a little bit. Yeah,
Rafa's he was good at it at Newcastle. He used to just pack the back four. He used to have a solid back and a solid midfield.
Agree. Win game, the chance it. Do you mean win game, then chance it? Jeff, come on. Sort your grammar, matey.
I mean, Benitez is known to have played a back 3 when he's up against a back 2. And it looks like QPR like to play a 3. It's like a 3-1-4-2. They play 2 strikers up. So he might go with the 3 in the back, but Branthwaite on the left of the 3. Holgate and whoever, Keane, Mina. So you don't know.
Jeff, in the comments, what team do you want to see tomorrow? Let us know what you think, because we're all a bit loggerheads here with it. QPR are 8th in the Championship. They're not going to be an easy touch tomorrow.
No.
The crowd will be booming. It's only a small ground, and we've struggled there in recent seasons, haven't we? When we've been there.
No, last time we were there, I was there. We beat them 2-1. Seamus Coleman scored.
Okay, I mean correct. I stand correct.
And if you're in the upper tier, don't sneeze because you'll fall over the side. It's that banked up.
I don't know where I'm sat, but I'm not sure I fancy a 5-hour journey home at 11:30 at night after watching us lose 3-0. I mean, let's do what we did on the last video, which I think is quite amusing, and we do our post-match reaction now in hindsight. So I just want to ask you about the game, Steve. What did you think of it? QPR versus Everton. It was what happened in the game. Okay, he's passing. David, what happened?
It was dreadful, wasn't it? Michael Keane, he just another clanger. He just it just doesn't control his penalty area. He's just let the ball drops and it QPR player just smashed it in, and from then on we just didn't look like we're in control at all.
Do you think starting LS Sims alongside Cenk Tosun was the right thing to do? And I'm playing Virgil van Dijk's leg on the wing. It didn't really work out for us on this occasion. But Lonergan in goal, he was outstanding, wasn't he?
Lonergan. Beat me up, Scotty.
I think I think we're gonna go there, and we will get bullied if you go with the team you've put out there, because I think immediately you've got a negative mindset. Players in the wrong position. Godfrey doesn't want to be at left back. I don't think Dean wants to be left mid. And players who haven't played a lot of football. Tom Davis.
But they've got a point to prove, and that's what he said after he played in Huddersfield, when he said he ran his legs off even though he picked an injury up early on in the game. And that's what we need. We've got no energy in the middle. You know what I mean? We can't afford to lose Allen as well. So
yeah.
Bamin not fit, David. Can you explain what happened in the press conference?
He got a fractured cliff.
He's got a quadriceps. He's pulled. He feels like he's pulled it a little bit, a strain. So I think they're just not taking a risk with it at the moment.
So Gabamin's out. What was the other update?
He's out. Hammers is out, and everyone else who was out the other day is still out. But everyone who played at the weekend is available. So basically no change from the weekend.
So just come into the comment then from Jeff. Steve, this is for you. We've sold out our tickets, so I would play the strongest team possible. Then make hopefully one. Can't worry about the Norwich now. Hopefully being at home on Saturday, the crowd will get a result. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. And I mean, I know I've gone the opposite way, but I totally agree with you. While you've got fans paying good money to get down there and pay, you always give it your best shot. You've got to. But that's when you've got a decent squad. We haven't got a decent squad at the minute. And I think not buying properly in the transfer window, or being able to buy properly in the transfer window, has restricted us.
Is the league really a consolidation season for us, though, this year, where we're kind of accepting that we can't recruit the players the way that our rivals and companions in the league, like City, Chelsea, United, have strengthened? We can't possibly compete with them. And it's about just trying to consolidate, potentially going for the top 7. And then next season, when your Tosun and your Delph and your Hammers, if he's going on loan, which it sounds like, all these contracts are expiring and the substantial wages there freed up. I think then it's
consolidating for the last 5 years since the coup, and then that's all we hear. We're consolidating. We're going, next year, and nothing ever happens because we always buy another load of phonies.
So we're in transition for a decade. And
we've been in transition since I can remember. It's in the last 10 years, or since Mashiri took over, at least.
Scouts, they've managed to find Andros Townsend and Damari Gray.
I'm absolutely fine with them, but if we'd have had money to spend, Andros Townsend wouldn't have been me first choice. I'll be honest with you, but he's proven right. He's fighting. He's playing football. And I watched him the other day. He's like a little leader on the pitch, and that's what we haven't got. We haven't got no one who's aggressive or only Coleman, and he's out.
I think we've bought players with the right mentality and who want to play for us. I think for too long we've been trying to get players in and kind of just compensate them with huge pay packets to get them to play for us, because we haven't done anything for so long, and we haven't got the new stadium yet. We haven't got Europe. We're paying over the odds, and it's so infuriating that we're sat here, before a cup game, saying how are we going to put a team out when, we're not in the era now where we had Schneiderlin and the Assay and Martina and all them, Klassen, they're gone. Balassi, Woolcott, you're talking about another maybe 20 players, or sorry, not so many as that, but at least a dozen names of dead wood that we've got rid of, and we're still sat here thinking, we can't put a decent team out against the championship team in a cup match because the recruitment's been, it just hasn't been there. And you think, okay, well, we haven't got the money, but there was players available in the free transfer market.
But then players you've just named, we've replaced with more dead wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, and it's one I think, Jeff. I know there's 8 of you watching us live. Thanks for sticking with us. He's saying problem has been past managers spent a fortune on shite. Yeah. The only way out the door is on a free transfer or a loan.
Yeah.
So, you think Norwich is a more important game for sure than QPR, or would you prefer to win tomorrow night?
Well, to me, I want to win them both. I'm being greedy now, aren't I? Norwich. Well, you look at the money. If you don't stay in the Premier League, look what you lose as opposed to winning the League Cup.
They've lost 15 in a row, Norwich, in the Premier League.
Well, to knock about what's going to happen then, isn't it? You know, there's Matty Cash scores a first ever goal for Aston Villa. And, you know, there's every team always breaks the hoodoo against Everton.
The lack of competition is bad for the names who are kind of shoe-ins as well. Because you look at Dean, you know, he can play a bad game, and obviously we love him, and, you know, we've got so much respect for him. But if he plays a bad game like he did, where he was caught out a couple of times, he's undroppable. And you look at a few of them like that, and you'd say they're all pretty much undroppable. Because there's no real strength and depth.
That's the problem. Do you know they're going to play the following week?
I thought Begovic was a bit of a lamppost against Villa.
Thought he could have had 2 of them, at least 2 of them. The last one that went right through him, Bailey, and the Matty Cash one. I don't know.
Thought he's a bit of a lamppost, and I think Keane again caught out of position, and I dread seeing him again tomorrow. I'm kind of just at my wit's end watching him. He's just got a mistake in him every game.
Teams are knowing how to play us. They've sussed us out already, and we're 4 games in. Bang the crosses in. Burnley done it. Banging crosses in. And we just can't attack. Everyone's looking at each other to say who's going for this, who's going for this. That's where we haven't got a leader at the back. We need a leader, someone who's saying, right, you attack the ball, I'll take the man out. We haven't got that.
They all want to pass the buck. They all want to pass responsibility.
And then look at each other then in disgust when the ball goes in. No, go and attack the bleeding ball.
So true.
It's difficult. I look at the fixtures coming up, and I do think we'll beat Norwich, even with the injuries. I think we'll have too much for them. You do look back, though, and we've lost Gylfi Sigurdsson, and we're losing James. They're your 2 playmakers. And what is the plan B if the wing play doesn't work and you haven't got the centre forward? There isn't one, is there? There's no plan B.
Gomez is the only creative force we have. That's why I'm playing him tomorrow in my team, because otherwise we're going to have nobody. If he doesn't play, the other choice of midfielders, whether it's Gabamin or Allen or Decore or Davies, none of them offer the ability to kind of pick out passes or the vision. Allen to a degree, but I've seen him hit a lot of overdone passes recently. So there's no creativity in that midfield.
Tom Davies. What do you think of Tom?
A couple of seasons ago, they started playing him in the number 10 role for a bit. On a couple of occasions, they brought him on a sub and put him in the number 10 role. And he was getting into the box. All right, he's not the greatest and he's not the most gifted player. But he's got enthusiasm and energy, and he carried the ball and he ran into the box with it. And that's what we've been missing. You know, if you run into the box with the ball at your feet, there's a chance you're going to get a penalty. You know, do you play Tom? Do you play Damari Gray in the number 10 role? Or do you play Andros Townsend in the number 10 role?
Would you give Sanctosin a game tomorrow if he's match fit?
He's not match fit. He was in the main brace in Kirby, pissed on Friday night.
We're a joke, aren't we?
I've got pictures of him on my phone. He was in there.
You are?
On the gin and tonics. No?
Buying gin and tonics?
On the gin and tonics he was, yeah.
Paying him 120 grand a week to go and drink gin and tonic.
Telling you. Let me find it.
Got about 10 players available. The rest of them.
Drew, he's saying he wants a QPR win. Take every game as it comes, and I think that will be the attitude from Benitez tomorrow, I think. But he will play an enforced team. Here we go.
That's him.
If I didn't laugh, I'd cry. Drew, give us a thumbs up, please, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already. Thanks for watching. So, were you watching the game? You're watching at home?
I'm not going tomorrow night now because I'm working till 5 o'clock. I'm gutted, like, but no, I'll be watching it. I've got a bit of a gig on tomorrow, so I'll be in and out watching it. Yeah.
What gig?
It's at the halfway house where we play.
Excellent. At Walton Road.
Yeah.
Do you want to advertise it on here?
No, it's all right.
So if you're watching, don't come to Walton Road tomorrow at the halfway house and watch Steve Ely play.
You go home, Jeff. Don't worry about it.
Can I get your predictions then, guys? QPR versus Everton, scoreline and scorers or non-scorers.
I'm going with my heart here, right? Okay. I'm going 1-0 Everton or 0-0 and Everton to win on penalties. I
like that. You know, you've still got the in your head telling you no, and then you've just thought, well, my heart's overruling me slightly. I'll go with a 1-0. David?
1-0. Penalties. Everton to win. Just because I want us to go through. Yeah.
It won't be to score tomorrow for me. That fucking kills me, that.
3-2. So, Steve, just because I've not spoken to you since transfer deadline day and on air, so can I just tickle your brains on a few things then, really, of what you've seen in general from the start of the season? So those first 3 games, were they fluke, or do you think tactical genius, or was it just a change of manager boost?
Change of manager boost, I think, and energy levels, because you'll start seeing the proper Everton coming up towards Christmas when the weather gets a bit thing, and like now when the injuries are kicking in, you know what I mean? I think we're going to. I think we're just going to try and wing it, get what we can till January, get what we can off the wage bill, and hopefully, because there was money available, and we could have spent up to, I think it was up to 12 million or something like that. I think we're just kind of pool it till January, but we all know the January transfer window is just overinflated, isn't it? And you don't get value for money.
Were you disappointed not to get a name like Luis Diaz over the line?
Very disappointed, yeah. I was very disappointed that we never got a centre half in. We've been known for the last 2 seasons now. We haven't got a leader at the back. We haven't got a mainstay. You know, the great Howard Kendall's, God rest his soul, the first thing he done was built from the back, South or Mountfield, and Ratcliffe, and he went right through the spine of the team with it. And that's one thing we haven't done, you know.
So no centre back, no right back.
No creative midfielder, as Dave talked about before. It was just, you know, and people laugh at me when I say this, and I don't mean to say go and get Ross Barkley back. I don't. What I mean is we haven't replaced someone who's a runner into the box with the ball, what Ross Barkley used to do.
I'm going to say it. I'd have him back right now.
Would you? I mean,
because I look at the squad and I look at the team, and I think he's better than what we've got. He
100%
is
better than what some of that shite we've got. Yeah. Well, but we've never replaced it. We've never replaced Tim Cahill. We've never replaced Arteta. We've never replaced someone from the midfield bombing on it late into the box.
He could do that.
Now we can, because Carlo had him shackled up, didn't he? Because he didn't want to get into Europe. Rat.
Like a right-sided midfielder he was, wasn't he? He was covering the play. Yeah. We've got a comment just before I let you go from Stephen Richardson's. He's saying he's going to come down and watch you tomorrow night, or wherever you play. What time are you playing? Are you going to disclose?
It's only practice tomorrow, but we have like an open thing where people can just walk in.
Basically, Steve, if you want to watch him, bring a paper cup and a piece of string, and you can hear him through the door. But I'm sure we'll let you know when the band is on and you can watch them. Any other comments? Any other things that are on your mind at the moment, just before we wrap things up? Yeah,
I just want to say tomorrow for the Blues travelling down there, firstly, be safe, as always. But there's Just let me find this for you. There's a couple of bars that are welcoming, because QPR is not very welcoming for away fans. They have bouncers on the door. You have to show your QPR season tickets, especially down Uxbridge Road. It's horrible. We snuck in through the back door a few times and then got through out. So there's the Sidicum Social Club, which is W12 8QD, and Belushi's Bar, which is Shepherd's Bush Green, W12 8PH. They've opened the doors to Everton fans and they're going to welcome. I think the Escola lads have got something to do. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they've got something to do with it. So, you know,
if you look at it, it's from the ground, is it? I
don't know. It can't be far. But I'll send you the link, Ryan. I'll send you the details, and then
I'll share it. Yeah,
share it, and that, you know. But it's, you know, it is a nightmare if you want to have something to eat or a drink and that round there. It's horrible.
Have you got good experiences of going to QPR over the years?
Oh yeah. First game of the season, Bob Latchford scored. We beat them 5-1. Glorious sunshines to start, pissing down rains at finish.
What year was it?
77.
77.
Yeah, we played in the yellow shirt with the blue diamonds down. I love that shirt. Doesn't fit me anymore. Yeah, we beat them 5-1 the opening game of the season. You couldn't play Bob Latchford. He was awesome. I've also got bad memories as well, is when Neville Southall got sent off when they had the plastic pitch. I think they beat us 5-3, I think it was. I can't remember. But then the last occasion they went was we beat them 2-1. Seamus Coleman scored the winner.
Amazing. Would you be going tomorrow night if you weren't working?
100%.
Excellent.
100%. But yeah, up the toffees and keep the faith. We'll get there.
Right. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Steve, thanks for joining on our preview. And David, as always, stay hoping to catch up with you soon.
My pleasure.
Big win for Everton tomorrow. I'm thinking it's going to be Fabian Delph off the bench to head in the winner in the 90th minute.
What have you been smoking?
And he's going to hold and do like a knee cramp celebration. Something ridiculous.
With his arm in a sling because he's out with a shoulder injury. So,
and I hope the move for James breaks down. I really do.
Yeah, I don't. I want him off the books.
Up the toffees.
Okay.
See you later. Bye.
Lucas Jean, follow Everton.
Subscribe.
Yeah, of course.
See you later, Lucas.